The voice inside your head, who planted it? And when did it become your voice? You weren't born with it. You didn't come into this world doubting yourself, criticizing your every move, or replaying worst-case scenarios like a broken record. That voice? It was planted, word by word, moment by moment. Maybe it started with a teacher's sigh, a parent's harsh tone, a friend's joke that stung deeper than it should have. And slowly, those voices weren't just around you. They became you. You began repeating them until you couldn't tell the difference anymore, until the sentence, "I'm not good enough," felt like something you came up with, not something someone once told you. This podcast is not here to argue, debate, or judge. It's not even here to make you think too hard. It's a mirror, a quiet space for your mind to slow down. So maybe, just maybe, you can hear yourself more clearly. Let's begin. You see, the mind is like soft soil. Whatever gets repeated takes root, especially in childhood. Your brain, still forming, still learning, absorbs not just information, but identity. So when someone says, "Why are you always like this?" or "You're too sensitive," it doesn't stay as just words. It becomes wiring. Neural pathways start to shape around those phrases. The brain's job is to predict, not just react. So it starts preparing you for rejection before it even happens. It protects you by warning you, even if the warning is a lie. You hear, "Don't try, you'll fail." "Don't speak, you'll sound dumb." "Don't open up, you'll get hurt again." And after a while, you stop realizing that these aren't your own beliefs, they're just familiar thoughts. But familiarity doesn't mean truth. And when that voice gets too loud, when it starts shouting inside your head, you may think you need to fight it, argue with it, silence it. But maybe you just need to recognize this voice isn't you. It's the sum of all the noise you were never taught how to ignore. But here's the trick your brain plays on you. If a thought shows up often, it must be important. If you keep hearing it, it must be true. That's how the loop begins. And the more you obey that voice, the more power it gains. You feel anxious? The voice says, "Stay safe, stay small." You stay small. And your brain says, "See, that worked." So it repeats it again tomorrow. It's not trying to harm you. It thinks it's protecting you. That's the paradox. Your inner critic isn't a villain. It's a scared version of you trying to keep you away from pain. But growth always feels unsafe to the part of your brain that was built for survival. The truth? You don't need to get rid of that voice. You just need to create a new one that sounds like care, not control, compassion, not criticism, truth, not trauma. And that new voice? It's already there, just waiting for silence to speak. So how do you begin? You pause, not to judge the voice, but to observe it. What does it say when you fail? What tone does it use when you rest? Does it encourage your dreams or remind you why you'll never make it? Then ask yourself, would you ever speak to a friend this way, to a child? If the answer is no, then that voice is not your truth. It's your past, echoing. Maybe it's the teacher who shamed you, or the parent who withheld love. Maybe it's society, whispering what's normal and what's not. But you are not a copy of their opinions. You are not a replay of their fears. You are a living soul, shaped by love, not noise. And every time you breathe deeply, notice your thoughts and choose differently. You're not just healing, you're rewriting the voice inside. You don't need to silence that voice. You just need to stop believing everything it says. It can speak, but you don't have to obey. It can panic, but you don't have to act. It can whisper fears, but you don't have to follow. The mind will always create noise, because that's what it does. But your power is in the space between thought and reaction. That pause. That's where your freedom lives. The more you practice listening without reacting, the more you start hearing your real self. Not the one who's always scared, not the one who's always rushing, but the one who sees clearly, feels deeply, and knows you were never broken, just buried under too many voices that weren't yours. And slowly, gently, you start uncovering who you are beneath it all. Sometimes the loudest voice in your head isn't even yours. It's a teacher who once embarrassed you, a parent who criticized more than they comforted, a friend who mocked your dreams, a society that told you you're not enough unless you're perfect. And over time, you stopped questioning that voice. You made it your own. You started repeating it until you believed it. But here's the truth. You can unlearn that voice. You can pause, breathe, and ask, is this really me talking? Or is it just an echo of someone else's pain? Because a lot of what we call self-talk is actually borrowed fear. And healing begins the moment you realize you don't have to carry every voice you inherited. You can choose which thoughts deserve your attention and let the others pass like clouds, softly, quietly, until your mind finds stillness again. You weren't born with that harsh voice. You were born curious, gentle, wide-eyed. But life taught you to survive, not to understand, just to react. And that voice, it helped you cope. It kept you alert. It told you, don't mess up. Don't speak too much. Don't trust too fast. But survival thoughts aren't always healthy thoughts, and safety isn't the same as peace. So tonight, just for a while, let the voice inside you soften. Let it speak without judgment. Let it feel without interruption. Let it be just a sound, not a sentence. You're not here to fight yourself. You're here to witness, to be kind to the younger version of you that still echoes in your mind. Healing isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a quiet decision. I won't believe everything I think. And that's where freedom begins. Sometimes the voice in your head isn't even yours. It's a parent's fear, a teacher's criticism, a bully's words, a culture's expectations. But over time, you made it sound like you. You repeated it so much, you forgot it had an origin. That's how the brain works. It doesn't care if something is true, only if it's familiar. So your mind keeps feeding you the same script. You're not enough. You should have done more. You're too late. But tonight, you can choose a different path. You can pause, breathe, and say, that thought might be old, but it's not me, because you're not your past. You're not your mistakes. You're not even the story you've told yourself every night before sleeping. You're the one who notices that story, and that means you can rewrite it. Let me tell you something your mind doesn't always want you to hear. You are allowed to outgrow the voice in your head. You are allowed to say, this no longer serves me, even if it's been with you for years. The brain likes loops. What's repeated becomes automatic. But awareness breaks the loop. Each time you notice the voice, you weaken its control. You don't have to fight it, just see it, name it. Oh, that's the perfectionist again. Oh, that's the fear of failure. Oh, that's the voice of someone who hurt me. You're not broken for having those voices. You're human, but you're also the only one who can decide if you'll let them stay. Tonight, as you lie down, don't try to silence your mind. Just listen with kindness. And when a harsh voice speaks, Answer gently. I hear you, but I'm choosing peace tonight. And sleep will follow, quietly, softly, faithfully. Some people think peace comes when the noise stops. But real peace? It comes when you stop believing every noise is true. Your brain can repeat a sentence 1,000 times, but repetition doesn't equal truth. You might hear, I'm not enough. I always mess things up. They'll leave me. I don't deserve rest. Pause. Breathe. Who told you that? Where did that voice begin? Was it a parent? A teacher? A painful moment you never questioned again? You are not that sentence. You are the space before it, and the freedom after it. You were born without those beliefs. You were born whole, complete, soft, curious, brave. And that person still lives in you. Don't wait for the voice to leave. Just remember who you were before it arrived. Sleep. Not because everything is perfect, but because tonight you made peace with the voice inside. Sometimes silence isn't peaceful. It becomes loud, filled with old memories, questions you didn't answer and thoughts you tried to bury. But here's something your mind won't tell you directly. You're not the voice inside your head. That voice, it's an echo of what you've been told, what you've feared, what you've accepted without even noticing. You inherited it, bit by bit, from your parents, from school, from people who had their own broken voices in their heads. And now, it sounds like you, but it's not you. And maybe that's why it hurts. Because deep down, something inside you knows you were never supposed to carry these words. Let me tell you something that your mind hides very well. The voice inside your head, it doesn't always belong to you. It speaks in your tone. It thinks with your rhythm. It uses your language. But it's not always yours. Because the brain, your brain, is not just a tool for thinking. It's a recorder, a mirror, a sponge. And from the very beginning, it's been absorbing sounds, phrases, rules, fears, comparisons. From parents who shouted out of their own wounds. From teachers who confused silence with respect. From screens that made you feel like you were never enough. Slowly, these voices became familiar. And the more you heard them, the more your brain started repeating them, not because they were true, but because they were known. And your brain, it doesn't care about truth as much as it cares about what feels safe, predictable, automatic. That's why sometimes you hear a voice in your head that says, "You're not good enough. You're behind. You always fail. Why even try?" And you believe it. Not because it's right, but because it sounds like something you've always heard. But here's the thing no one told you. You can change that voice. You can re-record. You can whisper something new into your own mind. Day after day, thought after thought. Because the brain is plastic, not in the fake sense, but in the scientific sense. Neuroplasticity, that's the word. It means your brain changes. It builds new roads. It lets go of old ones if you stop walking on them. So tonight, as you lie down, listening, I invite you to notice the voice inside your head, not to fight it, not to hate it, just to notice it. Ask it, where did you come from? Who taught you this tone? Why do you speak like that when I'm tired? And if it has no answer, let silence speak instead. Let calm take over. Let a softer voice rise, not the loud, dramatic one, but the one hidden under all the noise. A voice that tells you, you're safe. You're not broken. You're allowed to rest. Because healing isn't loud, and change isn't sudden, and sleep, true, deep sleep, only comes when you stop arguing with your mind. So let go. Let go of fixing. Let go of chasing. Let go of that tight grip on who you're supposed to be. You don't need to become anything right now. You just need to be. And if you forget tomorrow, that's okay. Because every night, you can return to this space where no one is judging, where no one is correcting, where no one is rushing, just a quiet space, a mirror for your thoughts, and a slow invitation to remember who you were before the noise. Good night. And now, there's nothing you have to do. No decisions to make, no changes to force tonight. Just one word is enough. I understand. When you begin to understand yourself a little more, even the exhaustion makes sense. Even your mistakes feel less frightening. I'm not here to convince you of anything or start a debate. I'm just a mirror speaking softly to help you slow down your inner noise. And if something tonight touched you, maybe, just maybe, what comes next will touch you even deeper. Sleep slowly, and I'll meet you again soon when you're ready to keep discovering yourself.